Good evening and welcome to a brand new week of Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, both the big political alliances in Maharashtra could be on the verge of a breakup. Are the BJP and the Congress making a huge mistake in pushing their allies in the state? Who will end up losing out more? And also tonight, more student protests in West Bengal over the brutal police crackdown on the students of Jadavpur University. As Mamata Banerjee's government comes under fire, was the police action justified? Should the Vice-Chancellor resign? That's in about 30 minutes from now. But first, there is still uncertainty tonight over the fate of the two key political alliances in Maharashtra, with the Shiv Sena and BJP in some hard bargaining as we speak, and the Congress and NCP locked in their own tussle. The polls, remember, are less than a month away. A state BJP leader has told NDTV that Mr. Modi has told the state unit that it is their call on whether the alliance holds or breaks, but that they should try to save it. If not, he told them, go on your own, and not to accept less than 130 seats. Meanwhile, the NCP says it will make a decision tomorrow after discussions with the Congress party. They want an equal division of seats. Well, what does this mean for the political scenario then in Maharashtra? Is it a big mistake for the BJP and the Congress to be pushing their allies this way? Joining us on the program tonight, BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra, Mr. Rashmikant, spokesperson of the Congress party, Nawab Malik, spokesperson of the NCP, and Nija Chaudhary is here in the studio with us. Nija, let me ask you first. Firstly, what is your gut feeling? Are these alliances, both of them, going to break up in the next couple of days? And do you see this then therefore becoming a four-way contest?
I think so, because you don't have this kind of an eyeball to eyeball situation, and when there are only 4 days left for the last date of nomination. I don't remember this kind of tension within alliances few days before, as I say, the last date of nomination. So I think that what they're trying to do is not have the onus of the breakup fall on each of the parties.
So that's everyone's waiting for the other one to break up.
Yeah, trying to put the other in the wrong. The other thing that people are saying is that they may not take a decision while the Pitru Paksh is still on, which is, which may get over
on the 25th, I think, right?
24th. So after the 24th, the decision may come. And today, Mr. Modi's statement, don't go below 130, try to save the alliance, but if it doesn't, get ready to go it alone. And if 130 is the mark that BJP is talking about and the Prime Minister is talking about, and Uddhav Thackeray has said no more than 119, so certainly they're getting ready for a split.
So is it going to hurt the BJP to break up with the Shiv Sena? First, let's talk about that alliance. Do you think it'll hurt either of the two parties? Or are they better off being together than being apart?
They're better off being together because as far as the surveys are concerned, they were even giving them 200 out of the 288 seats if they were together. But the real fight is not on the number of seats, the real fight is on who will become the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Uddhav Thackeray has to keep his fold together, this flock together, because his base will otherwise swing to the BJP. So he is bidding for the top position for that reason. Suddenly you find steel in the soft chief of the Shiv Sena. As far as the BJP is concerned, they also feel that particularly the state unit of the party feels we should go it alone. This is our moment. They got 24 of the Lok Sabha seats, Shiv Sena had got 18. And let's maximize our gains. Even if, you see, why concede to the Sena the chief ministership today? If we may well emerge, we may get a majority, we may well emerge as the single largest party, in which case we will be leading the government. If at all a situation arises that we are number 2,
then we'll talk about it.
Then we'll talk about it.
Let me ask Sambit Patra that, Sambit, is there a danger then of the BJP's overconfidence in a sense in this election? Because at the end of the day, this is a state election. It's not a Lok Sabha election. And the Shiv Sena has important pockets of influence. It has also been your oldest ally. So there are many repercussions to this. And therefore, is there a feeling in the party that this should be thought out very, very carefully before you actually split?
No, Nidhi, look, I've been maintaining, we all have been maintaining from the very beginning that in a democratic setup, discussion should never be seen as a dispute. And it's but natural that before election, and especially in a big state like Maharashtra, where a lot of seat sharing has to be done, it's but natural that political parties sit down over the table and have discussions as to what kind of seat sharing should be done. And that's what is that's what is going on between the Bharatiya Janata Party and Shiv Sena. We respect the Shiv Sena a lot. It's a great alliance of 25 long years. years. So I think within a day or two the whole thing will be sorted out, and together we would fight, and our main aim is Congress Mukt Maharashtra, which we have to achieve and which we will surely achieve.
But you don't think that you would work better if you were together? Rather than parting ways, that it would hurt the BJP to then part with its biggest ally? I come to that question of overconfidence again, and the fact is, the Shiv Sena has a face in Uddhav Thackeray. You unfortunately don't have that in the BJP after Mr. Munde's death. The Shiv Sena does have a leader.
Nidhi, I would say we are not arrogant, but we are very confident of the performance of Bharatiya Janata Party. As far as BJP is concerned, our strike rate in the assembly elections has been fairly better than the Shiv Sena since the 1990s. And we have seen the latest example of both the 2009 MLA election, the Legislative Assembly election, as well as the 2014 Lok Sabha election. In both these elections, we have fared far better than them, and that's the result as to why there is an aspiration within the Karyakartas of Bharatiya Janata Party to have a more number of seats than we generally fought in the yesteryears. But at the end of the day, we respect not only Bala Saheb Thackeray, but we respect Shiv Sena as our ally, and surely discussions are on, and I would not say that we don't have a face. We have our performance which is already there on the table. We have already seen as to how we have done in the Lok Sabha elections recently. To say that we don't have a face would be wrong. It's for the parliamentary board to decide as to who the face will be.
Well, actually, some would say you probably have the best and biggest face of all, and that's the PM himself, because I believe his face is already appearing on posters. Perhaps you've learned something from the by-elections where he wasn't really the big star of the campaign as such. But let me ask Mr. Bharat Kumar Roth, who also joins us tonight. Sir, what is your assessment now? If the BJP and the Shiv Sena were to part ways, do you think it's a foolish mistake on the part of the BJP, or do you think it's something, it's a risk that they can afford to take?
See, none of parties can afford to take a risk at this moment, because one thing is certain, that both Shiv Sena and BJP, they share the same vote bank. That is a peculiarity in this state, that both of the one is regional party, the other is a state party, but they have the same vote bank, that is the Hindu vote. And if that vote is split, then definitely the Congress and NCP, they will stand to be the gainer in the process. So it is not a wise decision for either of the party to flush their muscle and say, no, we will go on our own.
Therefore, where do you think that the compromise should be? Do you think that the Shiv Sena is justified in the hard position that it's taking vis-a-vis the number of seats, and also in possibly projecting Uddhav Thackeray as their face? Do you think that they are on a stronger wicket in Maharashtra because it is a state election?
Definitely Shiv Sena is on a stronger wicket this time, because this is a regional election, this is a state election, and definitely in last 5 years Shiv Sena has done a lot to raise the state issues. Having said that, let me also say that, as I told you, that the Hindu vote is being split. Another thing is that if himself, Narendra Ji Modi, does not come into picture directly in the campaign for good amount of time, then BJP will be the sufferer in this. Therefore, in the present context, looking from Shiv Sena's point of view, looking from Uddhav Thakeray's point of view, whatever he has offered, I think, is the best that he could offer, because he can't displease his cadre all through, from 169, if he is ready to come to 151, it means 19 constituencies he has already suffered. If after that, if you want to reduce that number even further, then Shiv Sena, forget the elections. Elections is one part of political life. The rest of the time, the party cadre, rank and file, would be totally unhappy with Uddhav, which he does not want to take that risk.
I think that's terrific perspective you've given us on why Uddhav Thackeray has chosen this particular number, and what you also said on Mr. Modi needing to come into the campaign quickly is an important point. Therefore, let me ask Nawab Malik this question, that Mr. Malik, seeing the very real possibility of the opposition alliance breaking up and therefore then a division of votes taking place, isn't it wiser for the NCP and the Congress to work out their problems, or does the NCP believe that the Congress is being completely unreasonable in its seat sharing formula?
No, see, today we have a core committee meeting. In that we had decided that we should talk with the Congress party. We had our leader, Mr. Praful Patel, talk with the CM, Tomorrow 10 o'clock in the morning there is a meeting. Our 4 people will be there in the meeting. DCM, State President Prafulji and Bhujbalji will be there, and Congress leader will be there. They will sit together and they will sit and discuss the issue, and we hope that we will finalize the alliance.
But do you believe, Mr. Malik, I know that there are even different points of view within your own party on whether or not to continue this alliance. But do you believe as a senior leader of the party in the state that it's better for you to fight together, or do you think you're better off separate ways as well?
No, see, Mr. Pawar himself have an opinion that we have run a government in the state last 15 years. At this juncture, there is no question of going alone or solo. We want that should be an alliance with the Congress party. As the BJP spokesperson said that they had a good strike rate in past. The same situation is there. In 99 we fight separately. After that one alliance was first time made in the Maharashtra 2004. The strike rate of NCP was about 60%. Then 2009 the same situation was there. But despite that, the Congress strike rate is very less. If in a tough situation, the Congress strike rate will be less, it will be a difficult situation to the both party. That's why we want a 50-50% seat sharing formula. We will discuss tomorrow, and we are hopeful the decision will be made amicably.
Okay, so Mr. Ashwikant, doesn't the Congress realize, I guess in a sense, that things have changed? The mood has changed. Maybe you're not in that kind of bargaining position that you once were in Maharashtra and in general. That's the way life is, I guess.
You know, in 2004, Nidhi, we got the Congress got less seats than the NCP, and yet the chief ministership went to the Congress. It's not a question here of the numbers. It's a question that the Congress is a pan-Indian party. But I would like to focus essentially on the fact that the Congress and the NCP have run the government in Maharashtra for 15 years very successfully. There have been odd hiccups here and there, but for 15 years they've given very good governance to Maharashtra without any sort of major hiccups. The people of Maharashtra are happy with it. On all parameters, Maharashtra has done extremely well. And
we'll know how happy people are in a few weeks.
Yes, we'll know exactly how happy people will be. But at this point of time, this is our understanding. This is our understanding. Our understanding could be right.
No, so therefore, my question is what I asked Mr. Nawab Malik as well. That seeing
see,
that the opposition alliance may actually, so split,
let me
aren't you
just
better off
finish.
fighting this together?
I hadn't finished. The essential point is, if you remember, even in 2009. There was every party tries to get the maximum number of seats for themselves because their workers have worked hard, their people have worked hard. It went not to the brink, but it went till the negotiations went till the very end in 2009, and then there was an amicable solution that was reached. As Mr. Nawab Malik said, there's a meeting tomorrow. The meeting will sort of decide. It may take a day, it may take 2 days, but we are very hopeful that a very amicable solution with the NCP would be there. The difference between the NCP and Congress on one hand and the Shiv Sena and the BJP on the other hand is that at this point of time in Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena and the BJP alignment or coalition is pretty much in an emergency ward where you get an hourly report to see what's happening, whether it's not. And and somehow or the other, it seems that the medical report is
now you've provoked
is that was the idea.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but they are at a in a sense at an advantage this time because you do face a massive anti-incumbency as well. So before Sambit, I'll give you a chance to respond, but I want to ask Neerja. There are important ramifications all of this has also for the way the BJP in particular is dealing with its allies. That if they're going to deal a certain way with the Shiv Sena, there will be a signal that will go out to say the Akalis and other allies as well. So what has changed in terms of the dynamics of the two national parties and how they're dealing with various alliances? The Congress doesn't have many left right now.
Of course, it's natural for the BJP, which is in a resurgent mood, to think that it should be, maximize its space and to want to do that. Certainly, it will have a bearing also in Punjab with Akalis, Shiv Sena here. But I asked myself this question. I was in Maharashtra recently. Suppose the Congress and the NCP had announced their alliance by now. You know, after all, NCP is also a secular party, Congress is a secular party, Maharashtra is known to be a secular state, hang together in the face of anti-incumbency. Then it would have been very difficult for the for BJP also to be playing this kind of brinkmanship, or Shiv Sena to be doing. You know, you can't have BJP and Sena fighting separately in a united front here. So that raises the question: has the BJP and the Sena got a sense from them that if they break up, these two will also break up? Has the NCP made up its mind to go it alone? That's what we heard. I heard even 6 weeks
Nawab
ago.
Malik, people are also saying that the NCP may veer around towards the BJP. I know your leadership has actually denied that today, saying that there's no question of an alliance with the BJP, but never say never in politics, especially Indian politics.
See, Nidhi, this kind of allegation are made by the people in the country last 15 years. After the formation of the NCP, people were saying that NCP will go with the BJP. In 1999, we fought against the Congress party. The hung assembly was there. There was an option open to us. If we had been shared power with the BJP Sena, we would have been in a power in center also in 99. At that time, we decided we will not going with the communal forces. And since the formation, we are a secular party. There is no question of going with the Bharatiya Janata Party or Shiv Sena.
Okay, so you're saying that this is all talk. Sambit Patra, I will take to you what Bharat Kumar Roth said earlier. If you're going to split the vote, it will hurt you. And a split between the Sena and the BJP, therefore, would be a big mistake.
Nidhi, before I answer this question of yours, let me just rebut back to what my friend Rashmikant from Congress was saying. And since sincere unsolicited advice to my friend Rashmikant is, when there is an
inevitable... He's been giving me unsolicited advice since yesterday.
Just a second. My unsolicited advice is, if you have an inevitable divorce coming up in your own home, you should not be peeping into others' bedroom to see what kind of relationship they share. You should rather run towards a counsellor. So please go to a counsellor. Your relationship with NCP is not working.
Since we are not going in for a divorce, we don't need to go to a counsellor.
Yes, I'll tell you one thing,
Since Sambit, you are going in for a divorce, I think it's time for you to go to a counsellor.
Rashmi,
that is if you are able to come out of the hospital.
Rashmi, take some humor also in the game, and I'll tell you as to why the focus is not towards Congress and NCP, and the focus is towards BJP and the Shiv Sena. It is because we are a winning combination, and everyone knows that you are the one who is going out of power.
There was so much focus on the Congress and the Lok Sabha.
That's the result as to why not much discussion has been done about it.
There was so much
now
focus.
Coming to the question that you asked,
Sambit, you are contradicting yourself. There was so much focus on the Congress and the Lok Sabha. Did Congress win the Lok Sabha?
Just a second. Now coming to the moot question that you have asked me, Nidhi, as to whether if we go out on this election alone, will it hurt us, Shiv Sena and the Bharatiya Janata Party? I mean, keeping this in mind, we have time and again reiterated, and Rajiv Pratap Rudy, who is looking after the state, has also categorically said that under no circumstance we want that we should give away this beautiful relationship of 25 years. We would see to it that we go together. Well, yes, discussions and debates do take place in democracy, and they should never be seen as dispute. And what have we asked? We have asked a reallocation of seat. There are 59 seats in which the Shiv Sena has not won even a single time.
Okay,
we have only requested them, can you just reallocate these seats? If you want to give us some extra seat, it should be from the quota of these 59 seats.
Yes, but as Mr. Bharat Kumar Roth was explaining, there is also a certain constraint that Uddhav Thackeray has. It is at the end of the day a state election, and maybe the BJP needs to see it differently when dealing with the ally. Mr. Roth, I do want to ask you the final question then, which is what I was trying to ask Neerja as well. That what are the implications of a Shiv Sena BJP breakup on the BJP's other allies and its relationship with other allies? Sure, the party is resurgent right now and it has a majority, but there is a future, a political future to consider as well.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that don't look at this problem in isolation. It is for BJP to take into consideration the entire canvas of the nation. If they try to act like big brother and try to suppress their allies all over, then perhaps at the end of the fifth year, BJP will find itself totally isolated. Definitely Narendra Modi ji has won 282 seats in parliament. So in this term of parliament, in 16th Lok Sabha, they don't have any problem. But when they will be facing the next Lok Sabha election, they must also, BJP should also consider that why they got these 284 seats, because of the might of the regional parties in most of the states. If they are separated, if they go away from BJP or they are thrown out of BJP, then perhaps next election would be a problem. Having said this, let me also say that a party like Shiv Sena should also consider that if they have to rule in Maharashtra or for that matter any other state, then they should also take into consideration who is ruling the center, because we are a quasi-federal country. If you are a quasi-federal country, then no state can act on its own, no center can act on its own. So there has to be a great relation between state and center, and for that BJP-Shiv Sena going together would be a very good model.
Mr. Rashmikant wanted to have a quick interaction.
The very fact that Mr. Sambit Patra and the BJP have been saying how many seats will the Shiv Sena give us automatically proves that Shiv Sena is the bigger partner, it's a stronger partner. Otherwise BJP would say we won 283 seats in the
This time the NCP feels the same about you.
No,
the NCP feels that it's the bigger partner.
As far as the talks between NCP and Congress go, they are going in a very civil manner. There's very little in the public domain. They have talked in a very civil manner, and it is not that I am giving you so much and I am giving you so much. It is how much we are prepared to part with. It is how much we are not giving.
Mr. Rao says that's not true. It's not that civil.
It is how
Mr. Rao says it's not that civil.
For your Deputy Chief Minister to say that I will not work under the Chief Minister again on the eve of elections, what does it tell you about the alliance and its health?
Well, Nitya, before the elections, you know that there is, like Sambit Patra said, there is dialogue, there is sometimes tempers running high, and these things happen before every
now you
election.
agree with him.
To your convenience.
So the fact of the matter is there are so many things. Now BJP did not mention the name of Bala Saheb Thackeray till now. Till Uddhav Thackeray mentioned yesterday about the incident in which Mr. Advani asked Mr. Bala Saheb Thackeray about Mr. Modi remaining. And this is, this is the first election, this is the first election in Maharashtra. One second, this is the first election in Maharashtra which is taking place after, let me complete. This is the first election in Maharashtra which is taking place after the demise of Bala Saheb Thackeray.
But I just want to say, because I have to wrap up, I just want to say that I think neither of the political formations here is in a position to comment on what the other's problems are, frankly, because you're all having problems with your respective alliances. Let's see how this then plays out over the next 24 to 48 hours. Perhaps we will finally have a solution to this tomorrow. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. Sambit Patra will stay with us, though we're just coming back after a quick break, because we're going to turn our attention to West Bengal, where there have been a large number of student protests taking place again. Classes being boycotted in Jadavpur University against the police action there on students. Was that police action justified? That's after the break.